Sweetness. I think this is working.
I think so, man.
What's
I think
up,
we just,
world? We
hey,
did it.
world.
Half the battle is just seeing if this would work, and I think we're getting there.
I think we're there.
All right, I'm going to do an intro. You ready?
Yeah.
Look, all right, much like
Yeah.
my shows, I've got no idea what I'm about to say.
And
Welcome
neither do I.
to the Josh Jams podcast, episode 1, by the way. Brought to you by my friends at Close Guitars. Use code Josh Jams for 10% off. I feel like that's what you're supposed to say on a podcast, right?
Definitely.
Then you have to go to another one. Do you need custom picks? Visit Pickworld. Use code JoshDance for 10% off. My guest today is none other than Teej. You may know Teej from my cover. You may know
Has
Teej from.
that gone platinum yet?
I think I'm sitting at about 1,200 views so far.
Honestly, pretty nice. I appreciate that. The secondhand views.
That's one video I returned to. For everyone that doesn't know, on my last show, I finally did it. I covered a Teej song. Not easy to do. And I was wrestling with the mixing board. So I'm not even that happy with the audio. I'm going to work on it a bit. But I'll tell you this. I keep checking that video because there's other ones kind of hit. I'm like, how's Teej doing? I was just seeing it tick up.
I love that. I love that. Honestly, man, it was such a cool experience because I've only had that that's happened a couple times in my life.
That's so cool.
It's such a weird feeling because you're nervous. Like whenever you start listening to it, you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then it's like when you start hearing the way that you perceived the song and like you heard the song and then you delivered it, it's super cool. It's just like super cool to listen to. I appreciate that, man.
I feel like it's like I said to you before. I asked you how to play it, and you told me the chords, and the chord
Yeah.
shapes very much are like Dave Matthews style chords, and that
Yeah.
totally changed the way I looked at your songs because like so much of a Teej song is how it turns out in the production, like the sonic universe that you create. So when you strip it down, it's like, oh, that's what's under that, like you already know it's a great song, but like hearing that different version. So it's been fun to try to like think through like how I might loop it even is a challenge.
Yeah, I
That you
mean,
don't really have to worry about.
I think you hit the nail on the head. What like started the whole Teach project in the first place. Like I found myself, I've written so many songs just on piano and singing, and or like on an acoustic guitar and singing. And this is the first time in the last few years, last handful of years, where I just like sort of dove into Logic and I built a song out of an idea. And
Yeah.
like for me, for example, like after I finished Twilight, I had to learn how to play Twilight. I had no idea how to play my own song. I've never played it from front to
Wow.
back, all the way through singing and playing, and that's like
So
totally not how
before it
I
was
write songs.
write a song, bring it to the system, Logic for you,
Yep,
and then
DAW,
and
yeah,
then
the DAW.
I was gonna say DOS for some reason, and I probably because I
Yeah.
watched The Vow on HBO. No, DAW.
Yeah.
No, so I bring it there, and then you build it up. But this time you're just in there first, creating, like throwing paint, and then seeing what the painting becomes.
Yeah, it's like you kind of go in with no pressure on it. Like whenever I was in a band in college and you're probably familiar with this sort of style, like you would have the song rehearsed, like you could
Yeah.
play this thing live, no problem. You wouldn't miss a note. And then you go in to record it and it's like there is no creativity anymore to this song.
Oh yeah.
It's like every single day, you know exactly what the
Yeah.
drummer's gonna play. And if he misses a hi-hat hit or something, you're like all giving them the evil eye because it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, do you not know what to play? Did you forget? It's like,
Sure.
and now, and like this way of recording, it's like you feel like you're discovering the song the entire time that you're writing it. And it's just
That's
so
awesome.
fun. And like, you don't know if it's anything like, if you got something special in the beginning, like if you got some chords that are like,
Yeah.
you're like really vibing with, or if like you got a beat that you're like just constantly bopping to, like, if you got something special in the beginning typically, but like when you really see the song start to take shape and it has like all these different
Yeah.
spaces in the
Moments.
song. That's when it's fun, and
Yeah.
that's and Dave Matthews Band, like, it literally one of the
Moments.
first
Yeah.
bands I fell in love with because I saw them live, and I'm like, wow, that song was 10 minutes long, and it never lost my interest because
Yeah.
they're just all they there's like little mini songs within the song.
Well, I feel like that's a great segue because right before we started recording, you let me hear what's going to be the next single. I have no idea when this is going to come out. So either,
January 27th.
okay, I think maybe the podcast will launch before then. We'll find out.
We can do it. We can do it.
Okay. So world premiere, pew, 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 exclusive. I just heard Wiffle Ball Saturdays, parentheses, Hoopers. So I want to give you my initial reactions. I've not said a thing
Yeah.
about it yet. How are you
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
before I say it? Are you feeling like, oh my God, or you're just like, what's your
No,
first?
because I I'm so detached to all my
Okay.
music at this point in a way. So like I know what this song is like in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things, like I have like a macro plan with like how I'm releasing all my songs
Okay.
and so far everything has gone exactly to plan that I've like hoped for. Like, with Twilight, for example, I knew Twilight was a vibe and it was like very similar.
Definitely.
It's very sound that I am going to play in for the rest of the Teej
Yeah.
project. So like I knew
Set the
that was a
tone.
thing. Set the tone. The Flood, I wanted to hit people deep. I want to hit them hard, like let them know, hey, look, like I can still write
Oh,
the sad song. I can break your heart. I'm gonna make you cry. I want to make you feel something because that's
yeah.
truly like the root of how I write songs. I want people to feel something, right? And then Millennial Gideon, I knew that song was gonna be like a weird song for people. Like I knew it was gonna alienate a couple, like some people where they're like, "What the hell is
It,
this?" And then I
it,
knew it
it,
was gonna bring in a whole new crowd of people that wouldn't have heard of
I'd say
me
like
in the first place.
Twilight, Twilight the flood, pardon me.
Mhm.
It created this like polarity. Once you have two data points, that's great. You can get a
Yeah,
sense, but you need three for a trend.
yeah,
And
yeah,
where Millennial Gideon came in on that, like,
yeah.
obviously I'm talking about line, tangent line, whatever it's called. Math
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
let
yeah.
us know. Let
Yeah,
us know in the comments.
I
It was
love
like
it.
way out of. It was like not. I was like, where on the trajectory will it be? And I think it just was awesome because you're like, hey, for my next trick, poof, I'm going to be here with
I
Hand to God.
appreciate
And
that. I appreciate
as
that.
of
Yeah,
recording, we're sitting at like 15,000 plays so far on Spotify. But I
yeah.
want to
I
document
know,
that for
it's
historical
wild.
reference
It's
so
wild.
people know
It's
that I
wild.
was
I can't
on it
believe it.
beforehand. Okay, so we have that happen.
Yeah, and then Wiffle Ball Saturdays is, like, quite literally the biggest curveball out of all of
Yes,
them.
that's where I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
come
yeah,
in. All right, before
yeah,
you tell me what it really is, I want to tell you
yeah.
what I think it is. All right,
Perfect.
so it's tough when you talk to a person about their song because you're always like,
Mhm,
I know how that feels when I tell someone about the song. You know,
mhm, mhm.
God, how many times did you show people songs way too early? And you're like, can you
Yeah.
all the dude?
Sometimes
My
you
entire
lose momentum on your own song if you somebody too early
oh
and they're like,
yeah,
not your best. And it's like, dude, it's
well,
it's like
not that.
30% of the way there. It's like I'm
See,
not
the
even close.
problem is, I as a musician always think that other people can hear the parts that I can hear that are coming.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like, you
yeah.
don't, I'm hearing it as if there's a horn section. I'm hearing it.
Right.
There's none of that with a Teach song because back to what we said before is you created this landscape. If I
Yeah.
was talking to someone else, not you, and I was saying they were saying, "What's the new song like?" I'd
Mhm.
say it's kind of like if Mike Posner made
Yeah.
"Family Business" by Kanye West.
Yeah. Nice. I love that. I love that.
Like, and I
I'll
mean
take
that.
it.
I feel like I get nostalgia from it. I get
Oh, that's the perfect word. That's the
a little
exact word
more
that I wanted.
storytelling from Teach. Like we haven't gotten to
Yeah.
storytelling yet. Like we
Yeah, yeah,
haven't gotten.
yeah.
You've been living a
Yeah.
lot in the. I mean,
In
obviously,
the
the flood.
vague.
The flood is artful storytelling.
Yeah.
Twilight, you live in the abstract of I'm in a car, I'm moving.
Yeah.
Now I see the ball court. Now I feel
Yeah.
like I see the pennies. I see
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
homies. Like I see,
Yeah, I love that.
and I feel like you've also had those moments again, like the pockets where, like the Nintendo lines, which I feel like
Mhm.
people will understand down the road. Even
Yeah.
like just saying that word feels right to hear you say, and then also like God, that doesn't bring back a wave of nostalgia.
I
as
love
well.
that.
So this is like another data point that I just feel like the map is expanding quickly of what you can do. And you're like, hey, every time I'm coming now, I'm going to challenge almost my audience in a cool way.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of the plan. Yeah, so like
yeah,
this one is a special song because it's like the opposite of the first three in a lot of ways. Like the vibe of the song. So I'll tell you the whole backstory.
yeah, hit me with it.
So far, every song that you've heard so far has been co-written with my best friend. His name's Robbie Swish, and we've made many songs in this room together. And I've known him since I was 14 years old, and we've just been through life together. And I woke up one morning about almost a year ago now, and it's like gloomy outside, and it's rarely gloomy in Dallas. So it's like it's not like Pennsylvania, It's like it's a rarity whenever it's gloomy. You're like, oh no. And I felt like the sad's like popping in, and I was like, no, I don't want to be sad today. I refuse to be sad today. I'm going to write the happiest song I've ever written in my life. Like that's
Yeah.
the whole goal. And when I start files in Logic, I name them something random, like the vibe that I'm
Oh,
going off of, or
that's
like a funny
brilliant.
word or whatever. And I named it Wiffle Ball Saturdays because I want to think back to whenever I was in childhood and I have nothing on my plate because I don't even own a plate. It's like my parents own the plates. I just go outside, I go play with my friends, I go do my thing, and like
Yeah.
I'm having a ball. And back then, when I was in middle school from sixth to eighth grade, I had my best friend. His name is Dave Szymanski, and me and Dave, we used to do everything together. Like as soon as we wake up, we call each other, and we're like, all right, I'll ride my bike over to his place, or he rides his bike over to my place, and we play basketball for like 7 hours straight, just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
balling and
Nothing
talking
but
about
time.
life and like
Nothing but time.
just nothing but time, having a blast. And
No plans.
my friend Dave about a decade ago passed away.
Oh,
And
dude, I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's happened a long time, but it was one of
Still.
those, like, it's one of the first ones in my
Yeah.
life, like
That's
first
tough,
losses.
man.
And we kind of felt like we were always friends, but like just like everybody does, like when you go to high school, some of your friends go to this friends group and some go to this, and like so we weren't as close as we were like whenever he passed, but it's like he holds a special place in my heart as like the perfect friend
Yeah.
at that time. And yeah, me and Robbie kind of tapped back into those days, and just like when you used to imagine when you were a kid, like, hey, there's like 2 minutes left on the clock, like, all right, like
Oh, yeah,
you're
for sure.
you're Kobe Bryant. I'm Michael Jordan. I don't know why we're on the same team, but we are today. It's like I
Yeah.
get the ball, give me the ball.
Yeah.
It's like that's just like that was life, man. And I had no, like, my family didn't have a whole lot of money when I grew up. Like
So
so
that's
like
like they can't
that's what we
afford it, Ryan?
did. Yeah,
Got it.
it's
Yeah.
like my parents aren't gonna, like, put us in some sort of camp that costs money with
Yeah.
like special coaches. They're like, go down to Simmons Park and hoop.
Same thing. And the
It's
ball
just
would be like poof and just like kind
oh
of like
yeah,
not bounce the back whole way back. Remember those where you just like slam
oh
the
yeah,
ball? We
oh
can make
yeah,
this work. Yeah, that's
oh
great,
yeah.
man. No, I feel
We
like it's
at
hard to
Simmons
tap
Park
into that.
we had the
Oh,
double
go ahead.
rims at Simmons
Oh,
Park. Like we're like, if it hit
no
the rim,
net.
it's not going in. It's not going in. Like yeah, no net half the time. Like
Just no net. Or
oh yeah,
like the most tattered thing that you had 6 years ago. They're just like
yeah,
half a net.
yeah. A
Or
shoelace. Yeah, like someone would put a shoelace up there.
yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, we had this one basketball court where like there was like grass growing in it, so you like bounce it, it would just like the ball would just go like sideways if you like hit the wrong
That's
spot.
awesome. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a cool play.
Yeah, someone always had like some like weird ball they got for free from like McDonald's or something, like they won, and always had like a weird
Yeah.
like a lump in it. So like if you bounce it a certain way, it's like doing
Oh
like
yeah, that one lump. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
it's
man,
like
do you remember like
it doesn't even make sense scientifically. It makes no sense. Like what? How
there
is
was the
there
one
a lump?
basketball that had the pump built in. You could like pull the pump out and
Oh yeah, yeah. You were a
like
rich kid at that. It's like
oh
whoa,
yeah,
man. Like you paid $4 extra for that thing.
I feel like that technology did not catch on.
It was honestly amazing. I don't think we
Yeah.
appreciated it. I think at that time, because I feel like it was like late '90s, and we were getting like all these gadgets, and like N64 happened. When N64
Oh
happened,
yeah.
everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's so real." And then you look back
Oh
and
yeah,
then
for
like
real. You play it now?
it's like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, it's like I can't even see it. Oh man,
It's
it's funny. But
all
yeah,
right.
that whole song was supposed to take you back. You know, it was just
It
supposed to take
did.
you back to whatever time you were in when you were a childhood and just like things were simple and just like
Yeah,
because we said so, you know?
I feel like it fits so nicely into like the current canon. I like it as a move right now, and I like it as it pairs with the
Appreciate
other
that.
three. And it's like it feels, especially with like Millennial Gideon being so like boom,
Yeah.
it's like the perfect
Yeah.
complement to it. Where it's like now we're gonna cozy up, you know, on a
Yeah.
Saturday,
Yeah.
and
That whole
it's tough
song
to
is supposed
tap
to
into
make you
that.
bob, you know? It's just
Like
supposed to make
to
you like,
get, oh yeah, it just breezes you through. Also, it's kind of like a whistle song, like do 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 do, like some of
yeah.
that almost like
Yeah.
2000s like hip hop sprinkled in.
Yeah.
I felt
100%,
that a
dude.
little
That's
bit. Yeah, I sniffed
100%.
that out. Yeah, I got
Yep.
that. All right.
We just tried to bring it
So
back.
I had this thought, last year was a crazy year for you in terms of like you went from some like you flipped the switch, you're on now, three releases last year, right? And
Yeah.
you're sitting here now, January. You're already working on Football Saturdays, and you have plans for the rest of the year. We'll talk about some of that in a little bit. But
Mhm.
other thing I'm thinking about is like, how does your mindset this January compare to where it was last January?
It's wild because like in order to get the first song released, like so like what people don't typically notice is like when you're a quote unquote new artist, they don't see what goes into it before the first song releases. There's like some people just release one, you know, and like I think that's great. Like do it, you know, do what
Yeah,
works for you. For me, it's like at this point in my life, I'm like if I come back and release things into the public, I want to I am intentional about what I'm doing. Like, because that's how I want to be in my life in general. I just want to be intentional about whatever I'm doing, whoever I'm with, whoever I'm hanging out with, whatever. And
I feel so
music's no
honored.
different. Yeah, well, I mean, like it's true though. Like, you know, it's like for us, like we talk all the time. So like this is
Yeah,
something where it's like, you know, if I can help in any way, I would be honored to help. You know, it's a privilege to be in a spot where it's like we can lend knowledge to each other, you
for
know, and it's
sure.
like that's like
Yeah,
the coolest thing ever. Like it's like all I want to do is get better. And there's a lot of things that we got to do as people and musicians just to keep shit rolling, you know?
yeah.
And it's like that's why it's like at this point,
So
my
have you
mindset
gone from
so
like the like anticipation stage to like you're fully in it, like you're like building your systems out and like
yeah,
where's
yeah.
it at now?
Well, where I'm at now, it's like I have like now it's like I kind of use the first 3 months of releases of you know just like building data and just understanding like what's working, what's not working, like where do I spend my time, you know, because like
Yeah,
time's the big thing because like you got to make money to live, you know, you got to you know have like somewhat of a social life or a relationship and like you got to like somehow keep everything going while you get this thing moving. You know, it's like you got to
mhm,
build momentum. So like my thought process, like when I was in January of last year, it was very much like make as many songs as I possibly can. I have a hard drive of you know hundreds of files that are anywhere from like 10 complete of a song that's just like a vibe or like 90% complete songs that you know like all they need are just like 8 hours to sit on and just
yeah,
finish it, you know. So like where I'm at now is very much like well where I was in January is like write so many songs, you know. So I did that in this January and like also last year was like do content like just like put yourself out there like get used to doing it consistently and now it's very much like okay what's the plan here? Like what's the thing that really matters? And what matters is for me, it's how do I make as much great music as possible and have as much output as possible. So that's
yeah.
leading me to collaborating with other artists, whether it's from like a songwriting perspective, a feature, or like you know, beat making or producing, like whatever it is, I just want to get my hands on it and help it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
whether it's my own or if it's somebody else's, I just want to be able to like do whatever I can do to bring that up. So,
You're in
you
that
know,
Little Wayne pre-Carter 3 moment where he's like, I want to
yeah,
be on everyone's verse. I'm going to show the
yes,
world the talent through Yeah, I mean, and also it's kind of like a self-fulfilling thing in a way, because when you do that, and you're not going to be collaborating with people that aren't of your caliber, you're going to introduce
Yeah.
yourself to a brand new audience as well, which is going to be fantastic through them.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's, like, really different though from, like, when we started, like, when we were starting to play out and everything, like, compared to now, it's like back then, everything felt so competitive, and I think we talked about this before, like, it felt so competitive, and honestly, it was a lot because of myself, like, I was just, like, very competitive at everything that I did, and, like, I
Yeah,
am competitive, like, with myself now, it's like, I'm not, like, in competition with anybody else, so, like, that's
yeah,
where the big
that's a great
difference
way to put
is.
it.
It's like I'm running my own race, it's like that's the whole thing, it's like I'm running my own race, like,
I feel
I
that
get
deeply.
you have to have a plan, you gotta, like, figure out, like, where do you wanna go, and then how do you want your days to look, and then what's the first step you can take to get there? So, like,
Yeah.
that's where I'm
Well,
at
we
now.
should
Yeah,
give
it's
some
like
context that when we both went to Penn State and we were both in separate bands at Penn State, both having success there, and the mentality there growing up and playing music at a very popular big school like that was a whole different world.
oh,
And
yeah.
I remember just trying to figure out, how do we get from State College, PA to anywhere musically? Like, what,
Yeah.
how? And so I feel like that's such a great way to put it when you talk about like the competitiveness before to now, where it is a competition with yourself, because really, who are you holding yourself up against? It truly is you.
Well, you hit the nail on the head because, like, back then, the problems were, how do you reach people, right? And it's like back
Yeah.
then you had, like, MySpace, Pure Volume, and, like, a
Reverb
few
Nation.
others. Yeah, Reverb Nation, like, and, like, a
I was
few
like, we're
others,
number
but
one on Reverb Nation. Like, what does that mean? There are no other
six
reggae bands.
16 streams today, it's, like, killing it. So, like, I think that's where, like, now and back then, all of those social media sites were like, they were like mini bubbles, like, there was no way
Yeah.
to go viral. It's like, it was all legwork, like, how many people did you add as friends? How many comments did you, like, go on their page, like, in order for them to come back, talk to you? And, like,
Oh
nowadays, it's so
yeah.
different because, like, you can, like, post something and you don't even
Kind of
expect
does the
anybody to
thing.
see it, and then the algorithm
Yeah.
goes like, "Ba, ba, ba," and it's like a million views. It's like, "Whoa." So, like, it's
Right.
so different, but that's where it's like that's where the problem is now is, like, there's so many different buckets that you can so many different sandboxes that you can play in, so
Yeah.
it's like, where do you play? Like, where do you spend your
Well,
time?
when you think about the competition thing, before we jump into some more of that, because I love where you're going with that, I just want to say that I think
Mhm.
back then, and obviously it's being younger as well, you're not really competing against other people. You think you are,
Yeah,
but
you're competing
it's
about
the
your
same.
own mind.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you're giving so much energy to these narratives that you're creating about the competition that doesn't exist, and then at some point
yeah.
you go, I want that energy. And once you take it
Oh,
back,
yeah.
that's when you get to the fun part, where you're like, I don't like, I have my process, I know what I do, I love when people like it, I find it, I have a great time with it, but like, it's going to keep happening. It's like, I'm not looking
No
up
doubt.
or looking around or being like, who's going to be the next It doesn't, I'm just doing as much as
No,
I can do.
it's very much like when you're back then, you're constantly worried about what people are thinking about you. Like, when you're younger,
Yeah,
you
and they're
care way
not.
more about how people think, and they're not even thinking about you. Like,
That's why we're
you're
always
just part
like,
of their scroll,
good news
Like
coming soon. Stay tuned. We got someone there.
yeah,
Our band
yeah,
is sounding great tonight at practice. The new drummer is going to be awesome. It's like that one YouTube video. I love it so much. It's like, stay tuned,
so
guys.
good.
More on the way. You need to be. You need to
Yeah,
be, but like
hype it, yeah.
all that time, and you're just like, because you feel so hyped when you play music. You feel
Oh, yeah.
so hyped. It's the best feeling, and you're just like,
That's
all
how
I ever want to listen, and hopefully,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. It's such a weird feeling because, like, there's certain I think the reason why we all play music, at least, like, for me, like, there's just, like, when you hit that magic moment, like, whether you have, like, for you, you play on stage a lot, and, like, I remember, there's been many
stage.
awful moments on stage playing live, like, there's been, like,
Oh
like,
yeah.
cringeworthy ones where you're like, "Oh my
Give me
goodness," like,
one. Give me a
true
cringe-worthy moment on stage. Give me a cringe. I'll give you a cringe if you give me a
I
cringe.
have I have a range, man.
Give me. I
Uh,
mean, I'm trying to go viral. Give me the cringiest.
Okay, the cringiest. Here's this is viral tendency, not because of like the actual story, but because of the band we played with. So like, and how out of place we were. So for context, I was in a piano driven rock band in college, like the on the lines of like along the lines of like something corporate mixed with the fray, you know. And
Yeah.
so like we played a show. So like at the time that we were freshmen, so I was like 18 years old. 18 years old, I played on the stage like a stage like 10 times. And uh my drummer was really well connected. His name's Garrett Bob, and he was really well connected in the scene because he was in a previous band. And he's done a lot of
What
booking, and he
band was he
loved
in?
that. He was
Do you remember?
uh well, he was in a band called the Victory Year before
That sounds familiar
Cloverleaf.
too.
Like
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so like out of Bell Vernon. So they were out of Bell Vernon back then. But anyway,
Hometown.
so he was just like a like at the time I was like, this guy knows every single person in the world. Like and he
Yeah.
knew all the promoters in
Everyone in
Pittsburgh or
Allen
whatever.
Street.
So very, very back then the way to get like on big shows was like first you had to ask, and Garrett wasn't afraid to ask for any show ever. So like he would ask, and then the promoter would typically be like, can you bring out X amount of people to the show, anywhere from like 50 to 300, even like we've got 300 a couple times. And we always said yes because we were like, we're
What else do you
hustlers, we'll
say?
figure it out, like we're going to figure it out. So the band was Circa Survive, and I don't know if you're familiar with Circa
Oh yeah,
Survive,
I
but
remember the name. It was kind of like
okay,
a little more
they were like,
aggressive.
yeah, aggressive is a good word for it.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
aggressive.
Metal? Are they,
Here's here's the perfect story about Cirque. I can tell you the exact story and then like what it felt like in this moment. So like first off, sold out crowd at Mr. Smalls. Okay, so like
oh,
completely sold out, and we're opening up. And if for the people that don't know, Mr. Smalls is an old church in Millvale, Pennsylvania, like outside of Pittsburgh, and it is a vibe. Like it's just a
great
vibe.
venue.
Great venue. I love it.
Oh,
Some of
sounds
the best shows
fantastic.
ever there. Sounds fantastic. It's just a vibe. So we go there and we're like so excited because it's the first big show we will ever have played as a band. Like, and we're like, this is amazing. Like, we're playing at one of our favorite venues. We're playing with Circus Survive, and we're all fans of the band personally, but our music is nothing like Circus Survive. Like, couldn't
No,
be
not
farther.
even close.
I was playing like acoustic guitar for half my songs up there. Like, could you imagine playing an acoustic song
Oh,
at that?
earnestly,
So like
earnestly.
so before the show, I'll tell you a story about before the show. So before the show, we went up to the green room, and there's like these like skinny steps to get up to the green room, and there's like the kitchen right there, and Circus Survives up there, and Anthony Green, who's the lead singer, he's in the kitchen, and he has this like massive cauldron, like huge, and he's making rice, and he has like a big stick of celery, and he has this like huge knife, and he's like cutting the celery like this, and then he looks at me and he goes, my mom always said not to cut towards yourself. And then we went on stage like 15 minutes later.
You're playing it like
Yeah, I'm
he's like,
like,
was that all for me?
I had a song called Hopeless Romantic, and I'm like on stage, like brutal, bro. But honestly, that was like such a great
Yeah.
experience because it
Well,
was like
how did the crowd
soul
react though?
builder, man.
Was the crowd cool with it, or were they like, oh, just kind of?
It
You
was
weren't
like a
even playing.
gentle it was
You
like
weren't
a
even
gentle
playing.
disgruntlement, like honestly, it
Like a
was nice
sigh.
that we were the first band there because they were like, they're gonna be off soon, so like it's like
This
it's
isn't
gonna be over
forever.
soon. Yeah, this will be over soon.
Okay, I'll give you my cringe real quick. We uh, we had just signed to this booking agency out of Penn State called Media Five, and they were great, and they still are. I knew them because they had managed the band Live back in the day, big great
Oh, cool.
Pennsylvania band.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
live.
Live
Blood
Fuel. Man,
precious.
it's
Oh,
going to be
nice.
happening on a
Fuel is
Josh
one of my
Jennings record
favorites.
soon. So we were
Love
working with
this.
them, and they were like getting us into new venues, and like basically like they call a place, We go play. And after a while, they started knowing like what we did great at, like the beachier stuff. Like we did kind of like reggae rock stuff. And here and there, you just get like a one-off venue, like a trial for the next season kind of thing. And so we get booked
Mhm.
at this place called Jenks Place. And if that
Mhm.
sounds familiar at all, it's because that's where the Jersey Shore cast used to go and like fist bump. And
Amazing.
is it Seaside Heights? Maybe I get the names mixed up, but so we're pulling in, and the cool thing is it's close to New York City. So all of our friends from New York came down to see, the college boys done good. They all have normal
Yeah,
jobs. We made
you're
it, right?
touring. Yeah, you're
We're in a
touring.
band. We're pulling in with the
Yeah.
band, the conversion
Oh,
van
yeah.
with the trailer. We made it, right? And we're
Oh,
playing
yeah.
the place that's on MTV Jersey Shore. This is going to be a
You're just
killer
about
night, right?
there. This is your break. Yeah, this is your big, big
Mind you,
break.
this is on the boardwalk, Jersey Shore, at the beach, down the shore, whatever you want to say. And so we get on stage, and I'm like, all right, guys, let's hit them with little Bob Marley. And
Yeah.
we open
Oh,
up with
nice.
One Love, and we didn't
Perfect.
finish the song. We got kicked off. We got kicked out. Did not finish the
Straight
song.
up? Just because you
Did
weren't
not
like,
finish.
like just because it
So like
wasn't bumping?
the
Man,
crowd,
disrespect.
the crowd wanted DJ Pauly D, and they got a very young Josh Jams that did not know what he was doing. And we basically,
Oh,
this is
man.
where all the experience comes from, moments like this. But I'll tell you,
Yeah.
this guy tapped me on the shoulder. And this has never happened to me before. And he goes, "You guys are done." And I'm like, instead of playing this song. And I had to go tell the other guys in the band mid
You're done.
song. So
You're done.
I had
Terrible,
to
man.
walk across the stage and be like, "Yo, Jared, we're done."
Oh,
Antonio.
man.
So
That is rough.
these moments happen though, but they make you, they give
Character
you
building.
character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
Because
why
like, when I went into
they
the
say they
business
want to pay
world,
me
that's
an
why it was so
experience,
easy.
if someone says they want to pay you an experience, I'm like, I've had so much. I've had so many
Yeah, it's like,
experiences.
we're
Okay,
good.
so
Yeah,
that's
like,
what led you back to business, you're saying?
so yeah, I mean, well, I
Much
mean,
bullshit?
similar story to you. I was touring the country for about like a year, year and a half or so after we graduated. So I toured the country as a solo artist, and I brought my friend from college, and he did like video and just like was my buddy, and like
Which is like
it
crazy
was
smart
great.
back then to be doing video even. You were already on it,
Oh
man.
yeah, we were trying, but like we were like
You're
vlogging
just
and
a couple
stuff
years
too.
away.
I know that's one of those things. If we just kept going, it probably would have taken off a little bit. But like, it was a really good experience because I had no money, man. I mean, like I was broke as a joke. I had my Honda Civic, and that was a nice little asset, got us
Oh
everywhere,
yeah.
and like I got all over the
How are you
country with
booking
that,
shows?
and I did it myself, man.
You just
I
call a
booked
place
like
and be
I
like, "Can
yeah, like lots of email and just lots of like just like straight up like tons of emails and see what sticks, and like I knew how to book shows just from being in a band in college. So like it was just very much like a grind. And honestly, Will was helping out in the beginning. Like he didn't land any shows for me. So like I'll always hold that over his head. But but yeah, I just booked shows myself, man. And like there were some like where I like linked with a local band or whatever from MySpace or where I was using at the time, and like we just kind of like did like, hey, like if I get a show there, I'll help you out when you come
yeah,
through Pittsburgh or whatever. And yeah, I did that for a while, but like that's when it was like the dark ages of music. Like there was no way to make money, and like there was no way to like get your music out there.
none
Like
of this
iTunes
stuff."
was dead, man. Like there was like nothing going on. So like MySpace was dead. Everything was
Yeah, it was like
dead. So like
the
that's what
pre.
led me to business.
Yeah, it was like those years where like you could Spotify was only in Europe for a while, and you're like, "This thing's coming."
Yeah.
Called
Yeah, Spotify wasn't even out whenever I was like
yeah,
when I was finishing up, Spotify had just been released to the US pretty much.
yeah.
So, yeah,
So
man, it was just a weird time.
I feel like it's such a cool thing though to have this second at bat at music. Having had those experiences at a younger age and dealing with those cringe moments. Now the perspective is so different. It's also like I appreciate it so much more, and I'm glad that this is
Yeah.
happening now. Like
Yeah.
23-year-old
It's like
Josh,
didn't
no way.
understand, just didn't get it, just
No.
didn't get it yet, you know? And it's like I think like that's I totally agree. It's like I'm just so much more grateful for what's going on. And like I said before, I'm just being intentional about everything I'm doing. At least I'm trying my best, you know, like we're and it's one of those things where it's like so much of my life there's been adversity no matter what. So it's like, why not be doing what you love to do and you're still gonna have
Yeah.
adversity? And
Yeah.
now I know I can beat it. You know, it's like at the very, very
Yeah.
worst, it's like whether like I'm super sad one day, I wake up depressed, whatever. I'm like, I know there's gonna be a day where I'm not. So like
Yeah.
it's worth moving forward. Like we're gonna get through it. Or like if I wake up and I'm like, man, like I don't have very much money in my bank account. It's like I know I can go make the money. It's like I just got to go do it, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that's really what it just comes down to. So it's just like holding myself responsible and like now since at my age it's like doing music full time to a lot of people my age like I have like half the people like in my world, well more than half like a lot of people they're like this is awesome. I'm so like happy for you and like this is so cool. Like, but they're like still a little skeptical, like, how are you gonna do it though? And it's like, look, like I still do
Yeah.
real estate on the side, It's like well not on the side, I still do real estate, It's like but I'm doing like two full-time jobs. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, the only reason why you're not doing the things you want to do is because you're choosing to watch Netflix and play a ton of video games, like which I love doing this stuff. Like, don't get me
You
wrong,
said it,
but
man,
like
not me.
you're spending all your time doing that stuff, and I'm spending my time in the studio better at this craft, and it's hard as hell, man. Like it's not always like
Well,
fun and games by any means. It's hard.
I feel like the thing is,
I
not
just want to
maybe
chill and
maybe you
play
do
video games
this.
too.
I'm not a big video game guy, but like there's shows I'll watch, right? But when I do watch shows, it's like intentional. I don't,
Yeah,
and I'll even catch myself getting sucked into a thing and being like, no, like I can't.
yeah.
You feel that
It's like I'm
pull.
gonna I'm
And
gonna take these 8 hours. I'm gonna binge watch this.
that's the
Yeah,
hardest part. And I mean, most of like my process has just been come from, saying I'm going to do a thing and trying to figure out how I can do that repeatably, and like,
yeah,
how do I work that into my life? But yeah, these pockets of time like that the times suck because you can start watching a show and look up midnight and you're like, and you just
yeah.
lost your entire opportunity.
I admire you though with your time management because like just like as somebody that creates content, it takes a lot of time to make content. And like it doesn't matter how good or how fast you are at editing or anything, like you still got to do it. It's like head down work that you got to do and it just takes time and it's like after you've done like 1,000 videos, it's monotonous. It's like, oh, like where you want to go, but it just gonna take like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is to do. And like I admire you because you figure out how to like squeeze out of the time that you're putting into your video editing and all that. Like and it shows in your content. It's like very
Thank you,
intentional
man.
with like you pick your little moments and like you have like some fun, like and then you have like hey, I'm playing this song for a minute, and it's like, and then you'll have some fun mixed in with it. It's like, it's just a good way to do it. But like you have this like macro view on it, and then you're like, I'm going to get 5 videos out of it. And it's genius, and it's something that I
Yeah,
need to do
thanks,
more of.
man. Well, I think it's like, so much is trying to, I mean, even playing by myself is a result of the challenge of not being able to practice with people. If I
Hmm.
if I play in a band, at best, we could practice once a week. And I just realized
Yeah.
how limiting that felt. I thought I heard something. I think I hear the plane out the window. Sorry. Um, so I think like when I think about setting like content up, if my goal is to do one a day, which it is, that's like my baseline for the most part,
Hmm.
then it becomes how can I build a thing that enables me to do that? And the hard part, I think, is what you kind of have to do often is like use the camera and make a thing. That's hard for
Yeah.
me because
Yeah.
I've built a process on the front end where I can like I oftentimes don't know what I'm going to post till I see the show on the back end. And then
Hmm.
the fun part comes to like, is this one video? Is this two? Is this even a
Yeah.
thing? And then like, will it hit? Will it not hit? And then I have like the ones that you think are going to go, they don't.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
you never know
Like
how much to allocate time wise to it either. You're like, just enough.
that's what's so hard because like you know, like with your sort of thing, it's like it's very much like it's with your sort of thing, it's very much like how much can you get out, you know, because like you like even when you play live, it's like you have a set list, you can play a lot of songs, you know, like you have a lot of songs at your disposal, like you, it's literally
No
your
set list.
thing. It's like, yeah, no set list, but like, you know what I mean, like it's you, whatever they ask for, you're playing in some capacity, and that's like that takes a lot of time to learn a lot of lyrics,
See,
a
this is
lot of chords,
what
you know, like
no one understands. I don't want them to yell songs out at my shows, but if they're
yeah,
gonna do
it
it,
just
they should
happens.
have a
Yeah,
penalty. It's not.
yeah,
They just do it anyways. They do it if I say it. If I don't do it. So I figured we'll lay some ground rules down. But
yeah,
it's been really funny because like I'd say this is similar to you. When you put
yeah.
up the strip version of Twilight, you had
Mhm.
no idea what was going to happen next. Like you were just like,
No
this is just
clue.
another post on another day, and the next thing you
100%.
know, we are flying towards 3.23 million views
It's wild.
in a matter
It was
of
wild.
days.
Hours. Yeah, it
So
was
when
crazy.
that video took off, run me through what that was like when you first. All right, just walk me through the Twilight going viral. I want to know. You
Okay.
post it,
So
and then what happens? You put your phone
okay,
down for a
so
little bit.
all right, so Twilight was my first single that I released, just for the backstory. I released that in September. So like I put out and it you know, it was doing all right on Spotify because like, you know, it's like people were excited to see what I had, and that was all great. And I'm like, and literally like what we talked about earlier, I'm like, man, I need to learn how to play this song.
Right.
Like I got to learn how to play it and sing it at the same time. Like it's wild that I didn't know how. I had to learn the chords. That I got to remember what I did. You know, it's like so. I'm like, well, I might as well just film myself, and I had it going through Logic. So like, I just kept on
Sounded
like
great.
practicing it. Thank you, man. I just kept practicing it, and you know, played you know the verse and the chorus, and I was like, you know, I was pretty happy with that performance. And when I listened back, I was like, it was all right. It was like I could do better. You know, classic musician, like I could do better. Like it's like I was never going to be
Yeah.
all right with the performance, but I almost didn't post it, but I just decided to post it. And when I first posted it, it had like, you know, like 300, 400 views for probably like 8 to 10 hours or so.
Oh
And I was
wow! I didn't
actually,
realize it's
and
got that long.
I was actually getting on a plane to go to LA, where I
Remember,
was going to
you're
go hang
texting.
out with Pat Breen. Yeah. So like, I'm literally getting on a plane to LA, and I have like 400 views or something on TikTok. And I'm on the plane, and I buy the Wi-Fi for whatever reason. And because I just released the Twilight. So like I'm like really like just wanting to be online all the time. So
Yeah.
but my like texts were like going in and out, and I get a text from my friend Chandler, and he goes, "Bro, you're going viral. You're at 25K on your Twilight video." And I was like, "What?" And I'm like
Did you
trying to
think he
open
was
it
like
up.
messing with you or something? It
Yeah,
probably
I was
sounded
like,
like
"What?"
the
Like
craziest statement ever for you to be like, "I'm what? No, no,
it
I
was
just released a
I
song."
yeah,
You
I
must be
legit thought
confused.
because Chandler's like my friend, right? He's like my boy. So
Yeah.
he's texting, and like we'll razz each other all the time. That's part of our relationship. So he's like, "Yeah, like you're up 25K." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, of course." And then I get another text from somebody else like saying, "Hey man, like you're going viral on TikTok. You're at like 75K." And I'm on this Southwest flight with this janky ass Wi-Fi where it's
Go go.
like my whole phone is like then all of a sudden like my phone like whenever we're like 30 minutes from landing, my
And
phone
you're
starts
like,
going like because I had my TikTok notifications on. So like my TikTok notifications were on, so it was like buzzing like crazy because I just kept getting likes and likes and likes and like comments, and I was like, what is going on? And I get off the plane, I had like 800,000 views or something like that. And I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, what is happening? I don't know what to do.
yeah.
I was just like, this is
So you
exciting, you know?
land
And
in
it happened on an
LA.
original song.
When
Yeah.
you're landing in LA, when
And
you're
I'm like,
landing
hey,
in Los Angeles with 800,000 views of your new
I have
song.
arrived, LA.
And which one is it? My artistic one, where I'm just gonna tinkle
Yeah.
with the piano. How might I play my song? Yeah,
Crazy.
and
It's a
oh,
dream. It's a dream. It was a dream. So
amazing.
then when I got in the Uber, it was like a 30-minute drive to
That's
where I was
awesome.
going. And it went from 800,000 views to a million when I was in the Uber. And then it got to two point something million when I was in like the next 30 minutes. It was absolutely nuts.
Wait, time out. Did you tell the Uber driver?
I don't think I even said hi. I think like it was so because the whole
I
time
would have told him.
I was sitting
I'd be
next to
like,
my girlfriend and I was going and I was like 800,000, 900,000. I'm like 1 million. And I'm trying to like respond to everything. I'm like 1.3,
crazy. And
1%.
I'm assuming this is like the first. This is like the first thing that ever went that you ever had that went like crazy like this, right? Or did you have
Yeah, I've had
anything like this before?
nothing that viral ever, like by any means. I've had like little
I've never
spurts
seen anything
of
like it.
virality. Yeah, I've had like little spurts of virality
Yeah,
here and there, but nothing nowhere near that. Like,
that was a
yeah, it's
rocket
crazy.
ship.
Oh
That
yeah,
was the cool.
yeah.
It was
I wish I could do it
so
over
we
again because I would do it so differently. I would do it
what
so
do you,
differently if I had to do it all over again.
what part with the song?
Just like so, like the thing with virality is like it happens so fast, and you only have so long to capture audience because like when think about it like when you're scrolling on
Okay.
TikTok, you're just like and it's like if you see a video that's great, if you don't like or favorite it, that person's gone if they never show that person again to you, you know, like another video by that creator. So like that's how it is for TikTok. So like but the thing I learned with TikTok is if that happens, you should go live immediately. Like you should be going live because more people will click on
Oh yeah, and then see your
you and
profile.
your name if you're live and see your
Yeah,
profile if you're going. So like
it makes
that's a
sense.
big tip. And like even just like sitting live and just being like, hey guys, like I'm sure you just saw my video. Like go check it out on Spotify. Like it just dropped. Like it'd be awesome for you to check out. Like that would have helped so much. Like just like some call to
Yeah,
actions. Like hey, follow me. Like hey, like and I know it's like it sounds like gimmicky, but like people don't know like if they people forget sometimes that it's like oh if I really like that I should probably like follow that person, you know, because like people get so sucked into the algorithm vortex and they're like just feed me videos, feed me more content, like I need more. And it's like and same thing back on intentionality. It's like I feel like we need to like help these people out. Like it's like if you actually like this, like follow
yeah,
this person, you know, like give them a chance, like
yeah. I find that happens on
build actual algorithm that you want to watch, you know.
YouTube Shorts. A lot of people comment. I've gotten like really nice comments over there, and they seem like they want to help me out. And then I'll be like, hey, if you want to help, you can subscribe, and they do. But they don't do it until I say it. So I know what
Yeah,
they're saying by like calling it out when it makes
yeah.
sense. It's a tough thing to get. I saw someone post this video the other day. Wish I could remember it. But she was saying like it's a big ask to go from TikTok to streaming. Like you were asking them to leave a
Yeah,
platform and then venture to a place. So
yeah.
it's not an easy thing to do, even if it is a song that
No.
it's going to take sometimes the repetition for them to even get that. The other thing I think about when comes to like having those viral moments, and I don't do this intentionally, but I thought about what you said about like maximizing the moment. Another way you might be able to do that would be to
Mhm.
start putting out more videos in that moment because everyone goes to your profile,
Definitely.
and if you could get like three more in front of it, they'd be like, well, what are these? And then
Yeah,
you kind of like,
no doubt.
yeah,
I think that's definitely it. I think the issue is it's really simple. We all have the same issue. Like a lot of us don't really feel like making that content or like thinking about like what content should I make today? Like most producers, we just want to be making songs, you
yeah,
know, like that's what I love to do. I love to I will create a song every day and I'll be the happiest person in my life, like in the world, you know, like if I could just be creating songs. Like creating content, I do have love for it at times. Like when I'm creating like something artsy or like for the art, like for the music or like something like that, I do enjoy doing that. But still, it's like it just takes time, you
yeah,
know. And it's like when it all boils down, like I'd prefer to be spending it creating. So like it's tough to be thinking like, man, I should always be like gaming this algorithm, you know. But like that's really what it is. Like so many TikTok artists that make it like talent of course they all have a base level of like pretty damn talented, you know, it's like you have to be some level of talent to like get people to like you, but like from there it's really like how smart are you? You know, like how good are you at marketing yourself and your brand, and like how good are you at connecting with other people, and like just like building relationships with other people, like knowing where to look, like knowing what to do, and just like keeping it moving. You know, it's like that's so much of it. So it's like nowadays it's just like it's so different because like there's people that just get it, like and get like the gaming, the algorithm, they love it. Like they're
Yeah,
like just like social media savvy and they love doing it. Like you're really great at it, man. Like you know how to keep building a following and like you're really good
I'm
at it.
trying.
So like those people have just like a different level that they can hit where like a lot of like musicians and artists, they just want to be creating music and
Yeah,
doing their thing. But we need to figure out a way where like to build that content that's still digestible and fun to watch for other people while we're doing our thing. You know, like that's
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I
It's just
mean,
tough.
I
It's
had
tough, but
this
that's
thought recently where, I was thinking to myself about that struggle that I hear a lot of artists have, where they're like, this sucks that we have to make content now. We didn't have to do that back in the day. We shouldn't have to do this. We should just play
yeah.
music. And then it's like, you're right. Yes, you're right. But then the other challenge about that is back in the day, you might have gotten swindled by a record label, or no one would have even given you a shot, or you wouldn't even be able to record things because you didn't have the technology in front of you. For me, the hardest
No
thing for me
doubt.
to do is track down a venue and try to get booked. That takes me sometimes
Yeah.
forever to get someone to answer an email. Dear Lord. And then if they
Oh yeah.
do, to convince them that I can play at their venue, I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. But I realized that all those emails
Yeah.
and convince, it would just be easier to just make the thing and at least creative outlet.
No
The
doubt.
email, I can only be so creative
Yep.
and witty, right? But like if I can create this ecosystem where I go, this is what I'm about, this is what I do. If you either like this or you don't. But I just feel like back to
Hmm.
that time constraint thing, I'd rather channel time through a creative outlet like content than track down people or, you know, send email
Yeah.
or even like put a flyer up these days. It doesn't, I used to put posters up all the time. I got them behind me, but it doesn't like,
Yeah.
now people are coming out from TikTok, which is the craziest difference. Is like, who knew?
It's awesome.
Who knew?
That's why like to your point, it's so important to understand like it's things are always going to change, right? So like and again like just because I don't love like having to sit and video edit stuff, the fact that it's like the difference is 20 years ago or like 15 years ago, if you first off to edit a video 20 years ago, 15
Yeah,
years
good
ago,
luck.
it was difficult. Yeah, your computer was going to like have a 50% chance of blowing up. So like good luck. And then from there, it's like trying to even get it uploaded and published to YouTube and all that stuff. It was difficult back then.
Yeah,
It was like a whole thing. You had to like learn, you had to like partially understand calculus to get things online sometimes, you know? So like, and then from there,
with
it's
no
like, what
intent
now?
to
Like
do it.
everyone was like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's like, all right, see, like hopefully this video pops off somehow. Like, I don't know how or why or, you know, what you're going to do. Where now it's like, you can make a video so quickly on your phone. You know, it's like you don't need a separate camera. Like you can just do it on your phone. You can literally record in your bedroom, and it's like, sure, like is it going to sound as good as a really like a multi-million dollar studio? Like, no, of course not. But sound great. Like you can make things sound radio ready. Like
Yeah,
no doubt. Like
that's
just in
why I
your
feel
bedroom.
like
So like things just have
you got such
changed.
a
You know?
gift in a way that the piece of content you made that went viral was just you. Like, could you if the thing that went
Yeah.
viral was like you dancing on top of your car one night? Think about it. If that would have gone viral, you'd be like,
No
well, I
doubt.
guess I have to dance on all the
Yeah.
cars now. That's my thing. If I want to go viral, and that would have set you down this pathway of being
Yeah.
dancing on cars guy. But now,
And that's not who I am.
but
Like I'm a goofy guy. Like I'll do wild shit, but
maybe
like,
you should dance on
you
a
know, it's
car.
like I want I have no problem dancing on a car. I'll dance on a car. Right. Bring your car over here.
Try
I
it.
will stomp. I'll stomp on that. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's really just like you have to be willing to do whatever, but at the same time, like you have to lean into what you're good at, and like that's what I'm realizing. Like the videos that have done the best for me have always been actually like making the music related. Like for the most part, it's like whether it's like building a beat or
Yeah.
like me playing a song or like doing a performance, like that seems to be resonating with people the most, and what I should want
Yeah,
as
totally.
an
And the
artist,
thing is,
like that's the goal. So,
it as long as you're doing the thing that is your thing. I had a conversation with my friend Brent Brown, who's another looper, and he had been doing like
mhm,
guess the song type stuff for a bit, but like he's great at playing music, and he's like, that's what I want to do. And I think like that's the thing is like it may take longer for your audience to find you because you're not playing the gimmicky game
yeah,
of attracting them with things. But if they do
yeah,
come, you'd rather 10 people that care than 100,000 people that are
yeah,
just passing through. So it's gonna add up, and
exactly.
it's
Same.
compounding too. Is what people don't understand is like you get a video like that Twilight that went viral, and people start going back to all other videos. So it's all you're waiting for is
Yeah.
that next one to pop off for people to appreciate the other ones that you have.
Yeah, and that's where it's like, you know, what I gotta keep remembering as an artist, it's like you always, and this is in life in general too, like some of the best advice I've ever been given is like you gotta stay in the uncomfortable zone. You just have to stay in it, like,
Yeah,
because as soon as you're comfortable, you're not really growing as much as you think you are, and that's kinda where I'm at, like, I am really comfortable with making a song, like, I can put me in a room with anybody in this world that plays any instrument or voice, and I will bring the best out of them. Like, I believe that at this point. I'm
love
not
it.
the best pianist in the world. I'm not the best guitarist in the world. I'm not the best singer in the world. I'm not the best producer in the world. But I'm really, really good at understanding what is great about other people and what is great about the song and how to bring it out. So, like, that's where it's like you just understand your strengths. And like, when you're young, you're constantly like insecure about doing. Like I always was like, I'm the best pianist ever. And it's like I knew deep down, I'm like, man, I need to be practicing way more. It's like I really need to be learning way more jazz if I need to say that I'm like the best pianist ever. Now I'm like, no, there's so many better pianists that I'm inspired by now. And it's like I take little bits and
Oh
pieces
yeah,
here
I
and
love
there, and that's
learning
how I
now.
learn. That's
That's
how I get
that's
better.
one thing that I
Yeah,
think
it's so much more fun.
when I was younger, I was like, if I learn, then I can't be a phenom. If I you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if I'm not like
Yeah.
Mozart, if it's just not natural, then why would
Yeah.
I? And now I go when I'm playing a song or getting challenged to play a song sometimes, and I learn it. I want the hardest chords possible. Me some funky,
Yeah.
crazy thing, and
Yeah.
I want my hand to hurt again, like it used to hurt, back in the
No
day.
doubt. Yes.
Well, I feel like
Oh,
this is a
yeah.
good place for us to sort of wrap it up right now. You're saying living in the uncertainty. I'll say as we close the first
Mhm.
episode of the Josh James podcast, subscribe, like all the things. Uh, is like I've got no idea what this thing is or what it will become or what we're gonna do with it. But that's
Yeah.
part of the fun is like it will become what it will become. And I think I'll get there much faster by just starting. So thanks for being here with me to embark.
Thank you for
Chose
having
you for the
me.
reason that I think is very fitting. So I knew you'd be able to go with the flow. I knew you'd bring a great energy. I knew you'd have a great vibe. All these things are reasons why it'd be great to work with you as a musician. So if you want to work with Teej, head over to his channel. You can get there by checking out my video of Twilight and then tell him Josh Jam sent you. Until next time, this has been the
I
Josh Jams
love that.
podcast. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.